Well, I suppose you're wondering why I called you all here today. Well, it's because what we're going to do is show you how to turn this pile of hardware, sporting goods, and flashlights into the world's most exciting LightSword. So, here we go. First thing, this is a blade. It's a very simple piece of polycarbonate tube that you can get at the custom saber shop. I will give you links below. This one is 40 inches because I like my swords longer, and I'm about 5'11" with monkey arms, so longer looks better. And the longer the sword is, the easier it is to balance for the contact rolls. So, your sword, if you are less tall, will be built differently. So what I'm going to do is show you how to balance these properly. So, these are grips that I picked up at Walmart for about $9. This is a set of grips I picked up at some like Dollar General store for $1.50. So, see how this end is closed? That's not gonna work. So all you do there, and this bump here, anytime you have a grip with a bump on it, that bump is going to mess up your contact surface. Contact is the art where we roll the sword around the body, and this will mess that up. So what you do is, we're gonna make this the top grip, and that wants to be just a little bit longer than your hand, because part of what we're doing here is making sure the aesthetics of the sword look right, and if there's too much handle, it stops looking like a sword. So now I know I've got that one. There's already a hole, so I'll be able to slide there. This one is going to be the mid grip out of 3, and so I'm going to cut off the closed part. And now on this one, because we can't have the tang there, that will get in the way on the handle part of it. So you want to cut that down just maybe 1/4 of an inch or so, because you will use this, if you want to make the Djedi pillar look. This sword we're making, I worked on for years, perfecting it. You know, original version was a fire sword, and then I found out it's carved all over ancient Egypt by people called the Djedi. We'll get to that on another clip. So, now that I know I've got that, and I've got that, what I'm gonna do here is take this. This is a simple rubber chair end tip. It just goes on the end of chairs to let them slide around. So what we want to do is put a nickel or a washer in the end of it for 2 reasons. Number one is that extra mass out there creates the centrifugal force that you need to have the sword be able to spin and do full revolutions and 720 spins and stuff like that. So putting that on is as simple as sliding it on, and then what you'll do is just hit it with a couple drops of super glue and it'll be there forever. When you're doing that, I would put the super glue so that everything is super tight. You don't want anything rattling on a contact sword. It needs to be one cohesive piece of equipment. So what we're going to do now is take these shaft collars here. These are very simple pieces of steel that have a set screw in them. And all you have to do is, this end, the way that it's cut, it's kind of flared out. So I'm gonna switch that around real quick, because that extra little flare will get into the tolerances of the steel part and make it harder to put on. So I'm going to put these 2 on for now. The other end has it too. Actually has it too. So what I'm going to do here is very carefully use the scissors to just shave that edge around and get that little lip off of it, because that's going to keep the, make sure you don't get the sawdust inside there. And be really careful when you're using scissors. You might want to wear a pair of safety gloves. It's just always smart to be safe when you're using blades. So I'm just going to shave that down a little bit, and now they slide right on. And by the way, folks, if your wife or mother has a pair of scissors that she uses for clothing or hair cutting, definitely use those. They love it when you use their sewing scissors. No, don't do that. She'll kill us both in our sleep. Don't do that. So anyway, what I'm going to do now, I've got the tip on with the end weight, and I'm going to put on these two shaft collars, butt it up nice and flush with the end, because that's our major weight. This is a rubber chair end cap that you can get at Home Depot. This one's about a 1 1/4 and it fits on perfectly there. So what's going to happen is that this is your flashlight that you've already pre-made, and it's just very simple. That's a rubber grommet that I slid over the end and super glued on it and then taped it. There's a whole nother video that'll be right below this one that shows you how to do that. Have that done first so that you can get the balance correct, because all these grips are different. Your sword length might be different. And so now I'm going to figure out roughly, I know that I want these two for the center pieces, and I want to make sure that I get the center mark perfectly balanced, because it's lit up for a reason, and that's because your eyes will always go to the brightest thing, and the center mark on a contact sword is everything. If you're working with that center mark, you'll be able to pull off all the advanced contact rolls. But I know that this is going to be probably too long with this grip, and it's already closed anyway, which means I can't slide it through. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut that off. And now that's actually not too bad, but I need to know that the balance lines up perfectly. So I'm just going to take some electrical tape here, tape that about where I want it, just so that it's on there for weight purposes. This time I'm actually going to be a little smarter and pre-cut my tape. There's going to be two of them, might as well do it while I'm here. Okay, so I'm going to tape that. Let's see where the balance point lines up there. All I'm trying to do here is just get the weight correct and my tape correct. Folks, it's okay if you make mistakes. And if you're thinking about building one of these, but you're worried you're going to make a mistake and wreck it and waste a bunch of money, you're not. You can always fix every mistake. It's like life that way. I'm making all kinds of mistakes right now. And if we'll talk about in Kung Flow about how mistakes are where the magic is. So I've got this poorly taped about where I think I want it. And you want that center mark to be about one of your fingers wide, because your finger will actually go into it. So I'm looking at the balance point with my very poorly taped grip here. See how I don't care about my mistakes even if they're on camera? I really don't, because I want to get this done fast. I'll do a better one later, but for now I just want to get this clip out so I can move on to building out the new Odyssey channel that you're watching this on. Oh, we're gonna have so much fun here. So where exactly, so this is the whole sword now. The balance point of it is actually way back here. So that's a little further back than I would like, but I am somewhat interested to see, having a sword kicked that far back, what it looks like, because the longer the blade, the more light, the cooler it looks. So I'm gonna make this one a little shorter than I usually would. Plus, what I'm gonna do here is take this piece of equipment and put it here. That's gonna give me a little more forward weight. And also, I just think it makes it look cooler, and then you can also play with it later. I'll show you when we're finished. So the balance point is now where? Okay, I'm gonna take this piece of tape And because tape is free, it's very inexpensive, I'm just gonna start over. I'm like the Bob Ross of LightSword mistakes. Happy, happy little mistakes. So let's kick this down a bit. Take all the time you need. We're not in a hurry here. Where is the balance point? Okay, so it's right about there. Okay, so now I've got the balance point figured out. So I'm gonna slide, I'm just gonna really double check, because what we're gonna do is slide these grips on with hairspray, and that's a ticking clock. And the reason why we're using hairspray is because it acts as lubricant when you first put it on, but then it turns into glue, which is the magic of it, because getting the grips on without the hairspray is dang near impossible. But then once you get them on, they're pretty much there as long as you want them there. And you can actually take them off. Okay, so now I know I've got that balance point right about where I want it. Oh, there's the problem. I forgot to put the tip back on. Another mistake. See how I don't care? I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. So now I was wondering why that was kicked so far back. Now it's making a little more sense. Remember, folks, mistakes are how you learn. Okay, so now I know exactly where that balance point is. So I'm gonna take my fingers here, hold on to this exact point. Oh, hey, scissors. Another mistake. So now I know where that balance point is. Cut that there to leave that there real quick. And so I've got this piece butted up against here. So now I know that this piece needs to end right where that's going to be the center mark there. So I'm going to cut that there. And again, folks, this center mark is about, 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to put this whole system here, I've got it laid out exactly as I want it now, and I'm going to figure out exactly where this top grip goes. I'm totally going to do another one of these where I don't F up so much. And I'm going to put that there so that way I know that when I slide on this grip, it's going to end up exactly where I want it to go. Because again, folks, once the hairspray starts setting, it can be a bit more challenging. So I've got that there. Boom, bada boom. Now I can take that off. I can take that off. I can take that off. And I can take that off. So I'm going to pull all these three things off, and now becomes the magic part, folks. And this is the part where you really have to get this part right. The hairspray is your best friend here. You want to use tons of hairspray, because any part that's not lubed up is going to stick, and if you don't have the hand strength, it's going to make it harder, and then you can cut the grips to get it off. So the first thing I'm going to do is shake the hairspray. This is my brother JW's hairspray that he left with me. He's a great guy. So I'm going to coat the whole blade here, get it really just dripping wet, and then really fill this up. Just juicy, now simply slide, and twisting helps, folks. See how much easier that goes on? Boom, it's right where I know I want it to be. Now here's this third part, or the middle part. I'm gonna get that super juicy and get this all good to go again. Twist it on up. I don't know what it is about spinning, it just makes everything better. And so now we've got this part here. Same process, get it super juicy, just dripping. And remember folks, use a ton of hairspray. If you want to know exactly how much hairspray you should be using, 2 Bon Jovis, 1 Cinderella, and half a White Snake. Twist that on. Now, these guys here, I'm gonna put that back in, get that on, get that one on. Oh, I'm making all kinds of mistakes today. So, what I'm gonna do is get that one on, move that down, slide that down, slide that down. And now, I gotta get that one out. Oh, there it is. Make sure that's on correct. I'm gonna line up these 2 set screws here. And I'm gonna tighten them down. Now folks, if you tighten them down too far, it starts bending the blades inside. So you just need to get them snug or else the flashlight won't be able to fit in. So now those are on. Put the flashlight in. Boom. That is right where I want it. That is right where I want it. Okay, so this piece of tape can come off. Slide this one down. And it's right where I want it to be on that balance point. And that's it, folks. That's the sum entirety of it. The only part you're gonna have any sort of challenge with is drilling a hole in the end so that you can click the button. There's a million ways to do that, and if you don't have a power drill or a way of doing this, you can put a washer in the end so that there's room so the switch doesn't get hit every time you pop it. But also, you can just go down to Home Depot or any hardware store or find a neighbor and say, hey, you know, I need a 5/8 hole drilled in the end of this. A big part of Kung Flow is learning how to ask for help. One of the biggest tricks and traps that they played on us is that you're not supposed to ask for help. That's silly. So that's it, folks. That is the sum entirety of how to make a WayLighter. Now, a couple things that are really exciting about this. I'm going to give you the parts list. These shaft collars are the real magic. These guys are the real heroes because you need the weight on this end to make it balance correctly for contact rolls. These are like $2 a piece. These grips were $1.50. 2 of these grips were $9 from Walmart. You can literally get that there. The chair end tips, you can use a bajillion different kinds of chair end tips and they'll work. You just need some sort of weight in there for the centrifugal force. And also, if it's clear, it'll shine out, and when you're spinning, it'll blast people in the eyes. But now you've seen how easy it is to make this, even if you didn't prepare for your clip like I didn't. And so what's cool is that you can make your own sword. I'm going to be basically delivering this design in an open source, almost open source, because I'm going to control it, or else other people will steal my own intellectual property. And it has happened so many times. Oh, we're gonna have a long talk about my connections with Disney, but that's totally unrelated. So what you can do here, folks, you can make your own swords. And I highly recommend you do, because you know, the flashlight came from Harbor Freight. That was 17 bucks. The box of grommets was $3 for the light. Electrical tape, this is always about $1 a piece. The grips, you know, can be literally $4 for a set. The blade cost me $9 at Custom Saber Shore. And then the tip was like $1 and a nickel is about a nickel. That's it. So you can make your own swords, and then what you do is just donate back to the fundraiser that's on Kung Flow, or right below this video. I'll give you the Cash App and the PayPal and all that. Don't use PayPal. I don't trust them in the slightest. So here's the cool thing. Make 2 of these. Oh my gosh, dual wielding is just the best thing ever, and it's the best workout. But now here's what you can do that's really exciting for both of us. You can make one of these, or 2, or however much you can afford, and then show them to your friends, and they will most likely want one. Every time I go out, people try to buy them off of me, and my previous customers who have bought them off me are like, hey, can I get more of these? I can sell these. So what can happen here is that you can become the distributor. You can become the LightSword smith, and you saw how fast these went together. You can be making these and selling them to your friends for money. And then again, with the honorable donation, you know, if you start making bank, kick some back. If you're just like, hey, I don't have enough food or insulin or something like that, I don't need the money. Thanks to Carrie Ann Fields, I have plenty of money right now. And my priority is not making millions of dollars. My priority is making millions of friends, because I want to use the allure of these light swords to get people to Kung Flow so that everyone can unlock their operating systems, heal their PTSD, end their addictions, and start unlocking the superpowers. Yeah, if you haven't seen that part, click around, it's real. So folks, you can absolutely be making and selling these for money. And I hope you do. And then what you do is just be honest and honorable about, hey, you know, I just made $1,000 selling these. I'm going to kick back $100. And then if enough people are doing that, I have the resources I need to finally buy a house and a property to set up a Jedi Angel training academy. And most importantly, folks, I've been well funded for quite some time. And I think I've given away about 30 grand already, because I can't say no to people I know who are being abused. And so just be honest about everything. I'm going to give you Kung Flow for free. I'm going to give you a wealth of next level health and information tips, and just keep donating. And then the best thing, if you don't have any money, just bring friends over here, bring light workers, bring patriots, and get them going, because through the magic of micro pays and micro donations, I'll do fine, and then I will do amazing things for you with that money. And like I said, folks, you are absolutely encouraged to make and sell these for money. Okay, there's 2 more things I wanted to add in. These blades can be better at dispersing the light if you sand them. And that's just simply a matter of grabbing sandpaper and sanding it so that the roughness diffuses the light. What I also did on another sword is something that I absolutely love, because these blades will break if they smack concrete hard enough, and you will be dropping them voluminously. So I took a simple heat shrink tube, a 1-inch tube of heat shrink, and held it over the stove until it adhered to the whole blade. And now the blade doesn't break, and even if it did, how did the nickel, sorry, magic just happened there. Even if it did, the heat tube is still going to hold it in place. So folks, something else I wanted to talk about, like let's say the hairspray part messes up and you're like, the grip is stuck. All you have to do is take the scissors and just cut it into little pieces. Just go through there without cutting into the blade. Just take your time, circle it around, and then you'll be able to get those pieces off. And I'll show you a picture here. I think that the cut grip thing, I think it looks amazing. And then also when you're learning how to do the spins, if you can see the hilt, it's so much easier to spin, because when your eyes are blown out at night from the brightness of the blade, seeing the handle can be hard. So folks, there are an infinite number of grips out there. They just have to be 7/8, which is the standard. Most of them are. And you saw how to balance it properly, because it really does just need to be balanced perfectly on that center point. It can be off, like, see, this is off just a little bit. That's totally fine. but the center mark is everything. But also what's even more exciting is you electronics wizards. 3D print some really cool chassis, put LED string blades in here and light them up. This is the basic shape and the balance and the way that this is all designed. Like this center mark, when it spins, it creates a concave bowl that will stick on your shoulder bones and do 720 spins. So what you can do is take the WayLighter and upgrade it with better electronics. You can add in sound. You can do a million different things, and I hope you do. And I've got more ideas on how to do better versions of the pommel. This will not fly off when you're spinning. I have yet to be able to make it fly off, and with this design, and I don't think anybody's spinning faster than I am right now. That will hopefully change soon. But if you start putting a heavy chassis in there, the friction grip of this cup won't come off. So we're going to talk about a callet nut. And then also when you're putting in a chassis, you know, this set screw here, that's just an Allen wrench away from being able to loosen. So if you're putting something heavier in there, then you can just use the set screws to tighten it down and keep it in there. And so there's an infinite numbers of ways to upgrade the WayLighter, and I hope you do. I really hope you do. So again, folks, that's how easy it is, and I'll give you the parts list on the next clip below here on the Odyssey channel. And you know, there's all kinds of color combinations, and the motocross and BMX and scooter worlds have some super cool grips. So you can actually customize them so easily and make your own signature sword that doesn't look like everybody else. The Custom Saber Shop also has green blades. It has to be a 7/8 blade, and with this particular balance point, it's what's called a thin wall. They have thicker walls for combat, and those are cool. You're just going to have to weight them differently and find a flashlight that fits inside. So that's this for now. That's how easy it is. And folks, I'm gonna make a bunch more videos, but we can seriously use this sword to save the world, and we're going to. And you can use it to make money, and I hope you do. So just be honorable, and if you have any questions, fire them away below, and let's have a lot of fun with this. And one thing, remember, this is a serious weapon, so if you hand this off to your 5-year-old, do not let them swing it at other kids, because these are knuckle breakers. This is bulletproof glass, folks, and it will break a hand fast. Which is also kind of a cool thing, because you can carry it like a walking stick, and if somebody messes with you, you can smack their knuckles from a distance. I hate that we live in a world where that's a necessity, but having an excuse to carry a weapon around, not a bad thing, and it also makes you much less of a likely target. So, got questions? Fire them away. Start building these, folks. Let's get them out there. Let's start waking up all the angels and Jedi. And if you haven't heard the story about how the sword that I thought I invented in 2007 is already carved all over ancient Egypt by an order of mystical knights called the Djedi, you need to see that. That rabbit hole runs deep. So, I love you dearly. We'll talk to you soon. Drop the mic. Hydrate. Electrolytes. You'll be better at light swords if you have electrolytes. Helping you is all of my business.